there's one thing that I learned from being into sports and setting goals for myself from before my accident, is that the first time's always the hardest. The first time always takes the longest, and from there, the progression is very fast. Just like the ice cube, just like learning how to breathe. At first it was tough, but I figured it out, and then it became natural. So I got my pants on, got my shirt on, couldn't put my socks and shoes on yet, but I was okay with that. I was pretty tired. Got myself into my wheelchair, and then made my way over to the room where I actually heated up my own plate of food of leftovers in the microwave. I only needed help with one thing, and that's because somebody had taken my Rubbermaid container and put it in the very back of the refrigerator behind a bunch of stuff. So other than that one thing, I did it all on my own. And I was wheeling back into my room, and I had this plate of hot food on my lap, and got in there and put it on the table to eat, and I was so excited. That was my first real step to becoming independent again. And independence, it's a strange word, because it means so much, and we all take it for granted. So think about, I couldn't eat for myself before this, couldn't go to the bathroom on my own, couldn't get dressed, wasn't even breathing on my own. I was 100% dependent on everybody around me, couldn't do one thing by myself. And here I am now, I just made my first meal. I was excited. This is gonna be the start of something. I didn't know what at this point, but I knew I was gonna be able to make something happen. And so that night, I set a goal for myself. I wanted to become independent, which that word to me at that time only meant being able to get myself up, dressed, and ready for the day. That's it, with no one's help. That didn't include driving, going to the store and getting groceries, anything. That's all I wanted to be able to do. And I had a lot of nurses and doctors that told me that's a very ambitious goal with my level of injury, that to not be disappointed and don't beat myself up if I don't end up accomplishing that. I'm sitting there thinking, a year from now, like, of course, at this point, we're talking 8 months from now. And so I knew that had to have been able to be possible, so I didn't let the things that they were saying, where they were kind of focusing more on the negative, I just pushed that away. I focused on the positive. I'm gonna make this happen. And it was actually, we proved a lot of people wrong, and in about 7 months after my accident, I had become completely independent. And it was actually a really cool moment for both Amy and I, because she had to leave for a week to go on vacation with her family. This was planned well before my accident. And I had a friend that came over to my house, and he was helping me out with anything I needed. But at this point, the only person that had helped me with any of my personal cares was Amy. I didn't want anybody else's hands involved with me going to the bathroom, with me getting dressed, taking a shower, anything. Especially didn't want my best friend to have to come in and help me take a shower. That wouldn't have been fun at all. So I went that week. The only things that I needed help with were reaching things that were out of my reach. Otherwise, I did everything on my own. And in fact, on the last day when my friend was staying over, I chopped up veggies, sauteed them on the stove, grilled up chicken, all on my own, and served him a plate of food as he sat in the recliner. That was huge. I had hit my goal, no questions asked. I was there. And when Amy came home that next morning, she got home real early, and what she did before she left is every morning when we woke up, she would bring me a bagel, because I needed to eat something before I sat up, because otherwise I'd get lightheaded. But that week, I had made my body get used to getting up before eating anything so I could start making my own breakfast. So she comes into the room and she said, hey, what kind of bagel do you want? I'm like, no, I'm good. She's like, okay, I'm gonna go and make some coffee. I'll come and see how you're doing in a little bit. So while she was in there making coffee, I scrambled really fast and got my clothes on and hopped over in my wheelchair and went in there and went into the fridge and pulled out my bagel and started getting things ready, and I'm spreading cream cheese, and I could just feel her staring at me from behind. But at this point, she had no idea what I had learned over the week. She was in Jamaica. We didn't really have much communication at that point. So I turned around and I could see the look in her eyes, and she is blown away at what I'm doing. I wasn't doing any of this stuff before. And at that moment, for both of us, we realized how much of our lives we just got back. And for me, it was how much of Amy's life she had just got back. Because she had at this point spent 10 to 20 hours a day taking care of me. every single day. She'd have to wake up 3 or 4 times in the night to help me go to the bathroom and everything else in between. So we just got our lives back.